What's up, y'all? It's the Relentless podcast where we're stirring up passion and purpose for marriage.
That's right. We're diving into topics you always wanted to talk about. Real life, real struggles, real love, and real results. So what are we waiting for? Let's go in.
Welcome back, y'all, to Relentless Love Podcast.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for tuning in. We've been overwhelmed by the response. If it's your first time, be sure to hit that subscribe button. Follow us so you don't miss our weekly drops on Thursday. I am so excited about the topic today. We're going to talk about roles in marriage and how you got to swap sometimes. You got to be flexible and adapt.
Yeah. You never know what you're going to have to get into, man. You got to get your hands dirty, man. But you got to be willing.
Yep.
Got to have a willing heart to do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's a team effort. So fun fact, Brock is as macho as it gets. But in this season of life, he is that dude. But he actually does more of the cooking.
Yeah.
In this season.
I will.
And laundry. He's the laundry guy.
Yeah. Oh, I say you got to get your hands dirty. You know what I mean? You never know what you're going to find in the laundry. Yeah. But it got to get done. And so, shoot, I can't just be over here like, that's beyond me.
Yeah.
Nah, you got to get in there and get busy, you know?
And it wasn't always that case, so we'll talk through that today.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I just feel like as a man, like I should be the first one to step up to the plate to do what needs to be done.
Yeah.
And so that's just a conviction of my heart. I think that was partly how I was raised, but also, man, just looking at God's model for family, right? And the model of the man is the head, not in the sense of dominating, but in the sense of being responsible. Mm-hmm. And so if there's a need that needs to be met in our family or around our house, shoot, if somebody raising their hand and say, let's get busy, I should be the one. So I'm willing to get in there and get to it, you know?
Well, but I recognize too, like he enjoys it. It's like art to you. It's a chore to me.
Yeah, but cooking is art. Now that's the day. Cooking is an art form. You can do whatever you want to do and make it come out good, and it's for your audience. Same way we cooking up these podcasts for y'all. It's like an art. We want to give y'all what y'all want. I want to give my family what they want, and it's fun to see them smiling and enjoying the food.
Yes.
And I know y'all enjoy clean clothes, right? Y'all enjoy fresh clothes.
Absolutely.
So let's do it. It's from love. It comes from love, you know?
Yeah, so I had to swallow my pride and be okay with not worrying about what it looked like or what people thought, and like just relinquish that and allow him to help. I still cook here and there, but
she bakes really good. Well, she bakes really good, man.
It's a new thing I'm picking up to spend time with the kids.
Right. Well, it's a mutual submission for us to do it. Like I said, like I'm the man, right? I'm the head, but I don't have to box myself in and say, pay the bills, go to work, cut the grass, and that's it. And you just sit back, and then somebody else got to do everything else. So my house is my kingdom.
Right.
My home, or if it was an apartment or wherever it is, like this is my sanctuary. This is my kingdom. It's what God blessed me with. And so if you're in a season where your job or your function is keeping you from being able to have time or energy to be able to clean up like you want to, cook like you want to, handle the kids like you want to, all those things, then I should be able to take up the slack or meet you where you are and say, I got it, babe, don't worry about it, right? And I think that's the servant heart that as a marriage relationship we should have for each other, which goes to that mutual submission. Like, I submit to you when you need help and service. You submit to me when I need help and service. And we kind of play off each other in the seasons of life that we in for the benefit of our family.
Yeah.
For the benefit of our family and the health of our family.
Yeah. So today we want to just dispel the myth that there is one way or a right way to do this marriage thing. It's really not. Right. First of all, every marriage is different, right? You have different people. We talked recently about strengths and embracing your strengths and differences. So and each couple is going to be different, right? You get to choose the dynamic. It doesn't have to be how your parents did it. There's not one cookie cutter way, even if you're a believer. So we're going to talk about that, what the biblical model is, but also how partnership is going to look different in each season.
Facts. Yeah, man. I mean, Ephesians 6, if I'm not mistaken, right? And about all throughout the Bible, you see men being the leaders of their home, taking care of their home, providing for their families, right? But also the responsibility of like raising the kids and stuff like that. Like, it's not a foreign concept for a man to be like the responsible party of cleaning, cooking, providing, all of that.
It shouldn't be.
Well, it shouldn't be. All right, let me say that, because maybe it is a foreign concept to a lot of people, right? Depending on where you came from and how you grew up, right? But like, we are the ones that's supposed to be the home keepers, man, the homemakers. Our spouses are help. Are supporting that, but like we should be the ones teaching our kids, raising our kids, providing and caring and protecting and taking care of what we haven't been blessed with, right?
Yeah.
And I was just referring to Ephesians, I think it's Ephesians 6, where we're kind of challenged as men to like lead and discipline and build up our kids, right, into the ways of the Lord, into the disciplines of the Lord. Not discipline like I'm about to, but discipline like, let me teach you skills. Let me teach you how to be use integrity and how to be on point with your life, right? But a lot of times society, culture, and how we've been raised say, oh, well, that's just a woman.
Right.
That's just a woman's job. You just go make some money, bring it home and kick back.
Right.
Like, no, I should be able to be in the trenches in my home to do that in partnership with you as God's model, right? And as a marriage model, as a head, I should be the responsible party to say, if my home, my family ain't taken care of, it's not your fault.
Right.
It's nobody else's fault. It's mine. And then that for me, that gives me a challenge, but also like a responsibility to step up to the plate whenever I need to for whatever needs to be done.
Yeah, and Jesus made it clear too. You know, the word says that a husband should love his wife the way Christ loved the church, and the way he loved, he modeled through serving. Like he was the chief servant. He came here to serve. He served his disciples. And so, yeah, I think you're right. That willingness to serve, we don't see enough, unfortunately.
Right. And a lot of times it gets boxed in.
Mm-hmm.
So if you get, you know, I don't want to say indoctrinated, but if you've been ingrained in your mind that I just being funny about this, I don't take this personal, but like if you can't fix your own plate of food, have you ever seen it? Like the men just sit back like, well, let me wait for somebody to bring me, you know, my plate, because that's beyond me to fix my plate of food. That's been ingrained, and if that works for you and your dynamic, that's fine.
Yeah,
but I can't be beyond certain things in my life and in my world just because I think a woman's supposed to do it.
Right.
We gotta be able to kind of flex off of each other. Like sometimes I need to fix your plate, you fix my plate. We can swap roles and serve each other in different ways.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes people just get boxed into this certain way that they've seen or experienced for a long time. And then that can actually be to the detriment of your family or your relationship.
Yeah. So, I mean, no judgment to that. For some people, they see that as a way of the wife honoring the husband. But you're right. It's that mutual honor and respect. It can't be one-sided. I think that's the issue with this. So if that's what y'all choose to do, that's fine. Right. But how are you then honoring? Like, we should almost try to out-honor each other.
Yeah, reciprocate in a certain way, man. When the time calls for it. Mm-hmm. And that's what we talk about, the seasons. Like, there's seasons that we went through where times call for us to kind of shift into different roles and responsibilities and focuses and, like, just having that willingness of heart to say, I'm not going to stay in this box and not be willing to budge out of it or get uncomfortable for the sake of certain things, the ideologies, the thought processes. Like, we got to break out of that, you know what I mean? And sometimes we can get trapped in those things, you know?
So, Brock, in mediation, one of the 4 laws that we really try to teach and equip couples with is partnership. So how would you explain partnership?
I would explain it as like a team, you know, a team effort. Like, we have a vision, we have a goal, we have something we're trying to accomplish, and we are role players on the team. What is your role for us to accomplish this goal, and how can we maximize our strengths, our ideas, our gifts, our talents, our time, resources to make this thing happen? And so in a marriage, the partnership is, hey, I'm not going to do nothing outside of you.
Right.
I'm not going to do nothing out here on my own, isolated. But here we are. Let's negotiate. Let's talk through what we're going to do. Let's commit to what we're going to do. And let's partner together to make it happen for the benefit of me and you, our family, whatever we're trying to pursue. And let's do it. Go team. Boom. Let's activate. And so I see it like that. Yeah. It's like we're not isolated doing our own thing or boxed in, but we're willing to compromise and work together to our strengths to make something happen in the marriage.
So practically speaking, the husband is the leader, but the leader is not trying to just go rogue and do his own thing. Facts. He's consulting with his wife. Facts. They're coming up with a game plan together. They're coming up with strategy together. Everybody feels heard.
Right. And valued. Mm-hmm. But a good leader is listening and playing to the strengths of his team. And so it's like, let's play to the strengths of what you got to bring to the table. And to my benefit, run the ball, like go for it. And then when I need to get in there and do what I need to do, I do it. but it's in agreement, and
Right.
it's in like not uniformity, but unity.
Right.
We're unified, and we're not like, well, I'm gonna do this because this is what I want to do. You
Right.
just do it. Nah, that's not
Yeah,
that's
it's
not
not
it.
going to work.
Right.
Yeah. And it's also sharing in the responsibility, which is important, and I think it goes back to that. We can't just conform to the patterns and ways, the stereotypes really is what it is that, the woman is supposed to do this, the man's supposed to do that.
Right.
So sharing in the responsibility of parenting at every season, what does that look like?
Yeah.
Even if you're not as hands-on, but sharing like the challenges that you're
Right.
facing and letting your spouse speak into
Man.
that. And so they understand. I think
I got some stuff stirring.
yes, I remember just as a wife trying to, when I was in that season of staying at home, like I was trying to do it all and trying to take that burden off you, but then I was carrying a burden I shouldn't have carried on my own. And even if it was just sharing emotionally what I was feeling, I wasn't doing that.
Yeah, yeah. And you end up what you can also potentially do is end up handicapping another person or preventing growth in another person.
Absolutely.
What came to my mind was sometimes there's fears of doing certain things for the sake of, I'm gonna mess this up. I don't know what I'm doing. Like I remember, and I may be getting ahead a little bit, but I just think through my mind, like I remember some fears and anxieties of teaching the kids, raising it. Like, oh my God, I don't know. I'm not very, like you can have those fears. I'm not very good with kids. I'm not very, all these things. And you end up, and then if you as the other spouse say, I got it, I'm gonna do everything, it prevents me from growing up.
Right.
It prevents me from excelling or like getting experiences I need in an area. And so we can't get into that like, well, just get out the way, I'm gonna do it all. Got to make room for the partnership to happen, right? Because if not, you're going to handicap somebody else from their growth and prevent them.
Yeah. And the kids aren't experiencing the diversity of our gifts,
right. Yeah. And they need to see that. They need to see the representation in the home. So that's good.
So what did that look like for us in our marriage? How did we grow? Like, what were the different seasons that we had to like swap? I know we're still in it.
Man, we done had a million seasons. Seasons? What? Shoot, we like, but that's the adventure of life, man. I think it really looked like living open-handed, like living really open-handed and open-minded, right? With things. We got married. When we got married, a whole season changed. Every whole world changed. So you got pregnant, honeymoon, baby, boom. You were in school, if I'm not mistaken, and you weren't working. So I was working. I think I ended up getting 2 jobs. I was working 2 jobs. So I was the one just grinding, going out, working, paying the bills. You were kind of more home, taking care of the home, taking care of, baby boy and whatnot, being healthy and all of that. And once he was born, you were kind of homemaker kind of vibe, right? But then that changed and shift after that season. Once we got into our second child, or was it? Am I skipping something there in my mind?
Well, I would say, first of all, what we learned in hindsight, right? Hindsight is 2020. Our values, I think, organically, we let our values shape what it looked like.
Yeah.
So I think that's how you offset trying to, just fit the stereotype or the cultural norms. You have to decide and have that discussion. And it's part of your vision for your marriage. Like, what do we want our life to look like? What do we want the day-to-day to look like? Right. So for us, I at least felt that conviction, like I need to be home with the baby. I just felt that.
I did too. Because it was our first experience of having a child. I wanted you to be healthy. I didn't want no stress. I didn't want you to be worried about nothing. So I was just like, I got it. You just take care of yourself. Right? Be healthy. And so that was a value.
Yeah. And then our decision when we got to homeschool, like that was another decision. So with that, our decisions about employment, our decisions about both of us working, one working, it was always with our family's best interest in mind.
Yeah.
And so then we would just cover each other in each season to make sure that we didn't compromise on what was most important.
Yeah.
And I think that's essential. I would encourage couples to do that, is make sure you establish those non-negotiables. What do we want our family values to be? And then everything around it is how you build. And so that's what establishes what your partnership looks like.
I definitely agree with that, man. Just really bullet pointing your values, at some point. Because we can have values that like really can lead us into some
Yeah.
some other places, right? And can kind of be domineering or like commanding of things if you have certain values that you just not willing to kind of compromise with. And so like one of those I can think about is like hard working, like working hard, career path.
Yeah.
If you value a career path, achievement driven thing, and there comes a season in your life where you need to sit down, right?
That's true.
But your value is no achievement, career, then you're gonna possibly choose career over. This supposed to be a season I was supposed to be at home.
Yeah.
This supposed to be a season I was supposed to be focusing on parenting.
Yeah.
Right. And so really kind of hitting those check boxes is saying, hold up, these are values, but can I swap?
Yeah.
Can I swap one out for the season we're in right now and not let this particular value command or dominate everything else?
Or in other words, making sure that your family values are not personal values. It needs to be mutually agreed upon and mutually beneficial.
Yeah. Nah, true.
Yeah.
True. I remember valuing creative time as an artist.
Yeah.
And saying at 2 a.m., man, that's when I'm really in my vibe and in my zone and I need freedom to be a creative.
Yeah.
But the way our life was set up, that was not jiving. It wasn't jiving for me.
When Sanaya was up crying and
Yeah.
you had to borrow.
Right. I think that's why I was trying to go earlier about when we had our second child and then the dynamics changed to where like I had to be more involved.
Yes.
So you were more involved with Savion home. I was working. But when we had Sanaya, our second child, it kind of swapped. I was still working, but I was more hands-on with kind of raising her and spending quality time with her and sacrificing my studio time for her because my priorities was hard work and going and doing this and that and putting the time in. But our season shifted.
Right.
And I needed to be more comforting and more gentle and kind of daddy, mom, what's it called? Mom, dad, Mr. Mom with her and having her in my studio. Y'all can hear her voice in some songs I recorded, man, like in the back. But we shifted.
We did.
And I was just kind of more around the house doing stuff versus being out working hard and traveling, doing trainings and all that. And I had to be willing to compromise and do that and serve in that way because you needed me to and you didn't have the capacity to at the time.
Right. Yeah. And I think it began because the pregnancies were challenging after we lost our second child. So I was considered high risk. And I just remember you had to step up and I had to let go.
Yeah.
And if we're honest, sometimes as women, we can like want to control when it comes to things in the house or with the kids. But I wasn't given a choice. I had to relinquish that control and be okay if he didn't meet my standard, right, of cleanliness and all of that. I was on bed rest. So it's like, okay, good enough is going to have to be enough.
Yeah.
So
that's real. But then that goes back to the partnership. It's talking through it and be willing to be like, hey, this is okay.
Yeah.
This is okay. We're going to meet in the middle. We're going to do this, but we're not going to like be so rigid to where we're not going to be able to relinquish and let go. And we had some understanding too. I think there's kind of, I don't want to say I'm contradicting myself, but I'm learning this because I remember a couple episodes ago, like, man, I don't want to read your mind. Just kind of tell me what's up. But there is a knowing in your spouse too of knowing like, I know she's going to trust me with this. I know that this is kind of how she wants things and how she wants it done. And so like, I don't need to go pick her brain about this, about the kids, about handling them. Just have the freedom and you trust me to be a good daddy.
Right.
And then I'm going to take care of our babies without you having to look over my shoulder and be like, what you doing with my child? Like,
well, it was a process to get there.
You know what I mean? So I'm just like, I know Dominique want this like this. I know she want the diapers. I know we had the
the cloth
the cloth joints. Oh man. But I seen you do it enough along the way and I know and I didn't have to come over there
picking your brain
and all of that, right? So it's just a knowing of, man, I got this, man. We're gonna be good. Yeah. So
and they turned out okay.
Yeah. The cloth diapers was something else though, man.
Yeah, so it was an interesting time.
Yeah. But fun times. And we had busy seasons where schedules picked up. We had all kinds of stuff going on and like having to be intentional about scheduling, about talking through where you at, what you're doing, when is this doctor's appointment, when is that, when is this meeting, when do you have a show, when do you have this and that. I think you were working a little bit part-time at the time, so there was so many different schedule things. How did we navigate all the role reversals, all the scheduling, all the busyness, all the things that were going like this during that time to where we were still in sync with each other in our processes and our
I think
roles?
one big one was when we had Chloe, because then I was really, really at risk with her and on bed rest like an extended period of time. So I think it got to the point where I was like, honey, I think it's time for you to leave your job. Like, I need more help. By this point, we got 3 kids.
Right.
So we needed that presence. And God was already kind of speaking to you. So that was a big one. You got even more hands-on. And I think at the time I was working part-time and homeschooling. And that's the thing. It's like, I can't do it all. So how do we shift, right? And one big thing that I'm not mentioning is we didn't have as strong a support system like close. We have great family, but when you don't have it close, then that burden is on you and your spouse. And we made conscious decisions not to, be both full-time working because then you're paying for childcare. So that's a big, pink elephant that I want to make sure I mention. If you don't have that support system, it's okay. You can be creative. Like, and it's hard. I would say financially, we've made sacrifices, but the value that we've put into our family, like I wouldn't trade that. Yeah.
I was gonna say that too. Like, it's okay to like not try to force your way into those financial constraints.
Right.
And like, man, you working to pay the childcare. You just working the job just to pay the childcare at the expense of you not being able to be at home with your kids. It's like, I'm making this amount of money, but that amount of money is literally going to pay somebody else to watch my kids.
Or the commute, like count all of those intangible costs because it affects even the partnership, right? If you show up and you're exhausted because you've been in a car for 2 hours, and you don't want to come home and do dishes. You don't want to come home and help with the kids. So count all of those costs. So with that, in those seasons, I got creative. I was able to work from home part-time and just, do some entrepreneurial things. So you get creative and you support each other. And I think that's what we did. So when you left Bank of America, you left corporate America, I was supportive of that decision, even though it was a sacrifice. And I supported you in pursuing your dream with music. And as a family, we went out and supported you. We ran the merch table.
Right. Fun times, man. It was great, but it kind of, I don't want to say forced, but through our decision-making process of being open-handed and flexible with our roles and with what we're focusing on and how we're meeting each other and serving each other, it allowed us to grow into kind of skill building.
Yeah.
How do we manage time? Yeah. How do we communicate schedule? How do we communicate responsibilities? How do we share and shift responsibilities? Because we were in the thick of it. Yeah. It was really like ever changing. And so we had to be communicative about bills and paying and scheduling and all that. If everything was just straightforward, then we never would have grown in areas of, man, check your calendar. Let me check my calendar. Let's make sure we're on point. Yeah. What do the kids need? What do they need to be? All of this. And we handing off, dropping off, packing up, all that. It helped us kind of unify. It helped our partnership. And ultimately, it helped us build more intimacy that we could trust each other with certain things. And because we were able to serve each other and swap, we knew that we had each other's back. That regardless if we had family close, which we really didn't, we didn't have nobody else around. We couldn't lean on nobody else to come in and do it for us. Right. We knew we had each other's back and we were going to work to make sure that we were straight. Yeah. And I think that built some great things within us over the years. But you build that when you get to just tap in with each other like that, man.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And we've gotten better. So, it looked like me having a baby strapped on me, if we were going. But it was fun. And our kids look back on that. They remember that. I just see how it shaped them and how mature they are and the experiences they've had. Yeah.
I hear them talking even now. Like last night, I think I was just at home with the girls. Yeah. And it was normal. It's normal for them to have their daddy around with them, cooking, feeding them, playing with them, talking to them. All the things that we do is not normal to be like, where mama at? Why mama ain't here? Right. When mama coming back? Like, no, they like, I always rock with my dad like that, right? And it's not like this foreign concept because I'm not always gone. And the same with you. And so when we get that swapping and that balance of what all we do around the house, it creates a normal atmosphere for my mom and dad are here, and I see them mutually doing things, and it's not just a one-sided experience.
Yeah. So even, if you don't live a crazy life like us and it's you pretty 9 to 5 and it's straight and clear, I would just say there could be a season where your spouse is sick and you have to take up the slack. Like things happen as you get older. So just be willing to do more than you have done. Ask your spouse, like, what more can I do to serve you, to make you feel valued?
Right. Yeah. So what big takeaways you got for the people this week?
Every season is different. So partnership is going to look different in each season. And just be flexible, be adaptable, lean into your strengths. And, if one is better at nurturing, don't be afraid. It's okay if you're a man and you're more nurturing than your wife. There's no shame in that, right? We're all wired differently. We grew up in different family systems that affect how we are. So ladies, don't feel shame in that. Like if he's better at managing the money or if she's better at managing the money, however you need to work together, just lay down the pride and like, how can we make this thing work?
Yeah.
So that's what I would say.
Yeah. Good. And I got so many of them.
Lay them out there. I think you appreciate it.
I think one, just my passion for like, man, just be flexible, be willing to step out of your comfort zone. Yeah. Don't be rigid. For men, just step up and take responsibility for your home, for your spouse, for your kids. Raise your kids. Raise your kids, man. Like, put your values on the table. Discern them, label them, however you need to do it, and then prioritize your family first over anything else, and prioritize your wife and serve. Have a servant heart, and be willing to live open-handed.
Yeah.
Don't live closed-handed where, if God is coming in saying, hey, I need that right now. No, live open-handed because you need to be able to shift in your life to get to where you need to be and not just be rigid. And I'll also say, like, lean into your strengths within your marriage. Yeah. Play as a team. You know what I mean? Like Dominique just said, like, let her be strong when she's strong. You be strong when you be strong. Y'all complement each other because that's gonna be, y'all superpowers at work at best. Yeah. And that's gonna just give y'all success in the marriage, whatever y'all doing.
And one last thing, like I said, those values, make sure you know what your family values are collectively, and your time and your money should show that those things are most important. So if family is important, then you need to figure out how to make more time to work together and to spend with your wife and your kids. Yeah, so.
Facts, man. It's a fun adventure, though. Yeah. Have fun with it, man. Regardless of how hard, how tough, or how the highs and the lows, the adventure and the journey is what makes it, man. So enjoy the journey. Your family, your wife, your kids, whoever's around you is never gonna forget seeing the progress, man. And that's where the beauty happens, man. So I say enjoy it. It's an adventure, man. Are you not gonna do the sign off?
No. Ready. Baby.
Much love from us here at Relentless Love, man. Hey, thank y'all for tapping in. Make sure y'all hit the subscribe, the like button, comment, share this with your people, man, and tap in with us for the next episode, man. We love y'all. Peace.